Howdy guys, welcome back to more Mass Effect. The past two episodes I've been grounded here in the Citadel, and I've just been using the time to go through the Codex. I'm gonna do some more of that today. I haven't been able to quite go through the main Codex. I got to about here in the technology, so let's continue, shall we?
Biotic. An artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creation of a conscious AI requires adaptive code, a slow, expensive education, and a specialized quantum computer called a blue box. An AI cannot be transmitted across a communication channel or computer network. Without its blue box, an AI is no more than data files. Loading these files into a new blue box will create a new personality, as variations in the quantum hardware and runtime results create unpredictable variations. The Geth serve as a cautionary tale against the dangers of rogue AI, and in Citadel space they are technically illegal. Advocacy groups argue, however, that an AI is a living, conscious entity, deserving the same rights as organics. They argue that continued use of the term artificial is institutionalized racism on the part of organic life. The term synthetic is considered the politically correct alternative.
My goodness, you have to be politically correct even when talking about machines, I guess. I guess that's not what they are. They're artificial intelligence. This is all really crazy. I wish I'd read this before because I didn't realize how, I guess I want to say alive the AIs are with this blue box stuff, and that the fact that they can have a new personality, it's like, geez, if they think they're alive, isn't that enough to be alive? I don't know, you start getting into some real philosophical, as far as, sci-fi goes, questions when you start thinking about this too much. I don't know, man, I think about Short Circuit, a movie from the 80s, Johnny Five is alive. It's one of my favorite movies. So, the little robot in that movie thinks it's alive. So, is that enough to be alive? I don't know. You start getting into some deep questions there. So, I'm going to move on before I hurt myself.
A virtual intelligence is an advanced form of user interface software. VIs use a variety of methods to simulate natural conversation, including an audio interface and an avatar personality to interact with. Although a VI can provide a convincing emulation of sentience, they are not self-aware, nor can they learn or take independent action. VIs are used as operating systems on commercial and home computers. Minimal VI agents are also available. Agents are compact and specialized. Some serve as personal secretaries, filtering calls and scheduling meetings based on user-defined priorities. Others are advanced search engines, propagating themselves across the extranet to collate user-requested data. Commercial VIs in a variety of stock personalities are available at any software retailer. Boutique firms and hobbyists also build unique VIs to personal specification. Although software emulation of living personalities is illegal, reconstructions of famous historical figures are common.
So, basically, I think this last sentence is interesting. Although software emulation of living personalities is illegal, that means at some point it was probably happening enough that they had to make it a crime, because, that'd be really interesting to have some VIs of your favorite movie star, musician. I wouldn't mind having a little VI to help out around the house or something. I don't know how useful they'd be. They sound just like really fancy computers if they can just filter calls and stuff. If you can give one a vacuum cleaner, I might be interested.
Element 0 can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low-mass fields allow FTL travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High-mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low-mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys. while high-mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The military makes extensive use of mobility-enhancing technologies, with Mass Effect utilizing fighting vehicles standard frontline issue in most military forces. Mass Effect fields are also essential in the creation of kinetic barriers or shields to protect against enemy fire.
My gosh, okay, a lot of that kind of went over my head. I feel like the people behind writing the world of this game really must have spent hours doing their research and really fleshing this out, because this sounds like a lot of stuff in order to make the whole world of the game more believable and just well built. It's kind of hard for me to understand exactly what all this is talking about, but or how true some of this could be, if there's anything kind of like this element zero or anything. I doubt it, but it's really fun to think about, and it really shows that they put a lot of thought into making a somewhat believable game that's still in a sci-fi fantasy setting, but allows you to still dream and be like, ooh, maybe, if only, right?
Mass relays are feats of Prothean engineering advanced far beyond the technology of any living species. They are enormous structures scattered throughout the stars and can create corridors of virtually mass-free space, allowing instantaneous transit between locations separated by years or even centuries of travel using conventional FTL drives. Primary mass relays can propel ships thousands of light years, often from one spiral arm of the galaxy to another. However, they have fixed one-to-one connections. A primary relay connects to one other primary relay and nowhere else. Secondary relays can only propel ships across a few hundred light years. However, they are omnidirectional. A secondary relay can send a ship to any other relay within its limited range. There are many dormant primary relays whose corresponding twins have not yet been located. These are left inactive until their partner is charted, as established civilizations are unwilling to blindly open a passage that might connect them to a hostile species.
Oh man, now I found all of this really interesting. Okay, I was wondering how these mass relays work, but they just create like a mass-free hallway kind of thing that you can just shoot ships through it. So that's why they can only be one-to-one for the mass relays, or what do they call them, the primary ones. That's super interesting, and especially this one where they don't know where the mate to their relay goes. Like, I don't know where this goes. You want to find out? No, not yet. We're not ready to find out yet, because it's like, how exciting must it be to live in the world of this game and have so much unknown? I mean, earlier, yesterday's Codex said that only 1% of the stars had been explored, so yeah, no real idea where a lot of stuff may go, no idea how friendly everything is. A lot of stuff has not been friendly, so I guess it's kind of almost a intergalactic decision to open one of those things up, I guess. It's a bigger deal than I realized.
Omni Tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni Tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The fabrication module can rapidly assemble small three-dimensional objects from common reusable industrial plastics, ceramics, and light alloys. This allows for field repairs and modifications to most standard items, as well as the reuse of salvaged equipment. Omni Tools are standard issue for soldiers and first-in colonists.
Man, that's so cool. Wouldn't that be neat if that was just a standard issue for all of us to have something so useful? I think that's pretty cool anyway. Alright, so we're done with the technology. Now we're going to look at weapons, armor, and equipment.
Combat hard suits use a dual-layer system to protect the wearer. The inner layer consists of fabric armor with kinetic padding. Areas that don't need to be flexible, such as the chest or shins, are reinforced with sheets of lightweight ablative ceramic. The outer layer consists of automatically generated kinetic barriers. Objects traveling above a certain speed will trigger the barrier's reflex system and be deflected, provided there is enough energy left in the shield's power cell. Armored hardsuits are sealable to protect the wearer from extremes of temperature and atmosphere. Standard equipment includes an onboard mini-frame and a communications, navigation, and sensing suite. The mini-frame is designed to accept and display data from a weapon's smart targeting system to make it easier to locate and eliminate enemies.
So if these were realistic, each of these suits would cost, several $1,000s to have barriers and some ceramic and extra pads. I mean, these sound like really expensive suits. Of course, when I buy them in the game, money's kind of relative to what I've been doing. If, everything's expensive if I'm not getting money, but, so I don't know, just something to think about all the time. Maybe it's actually pretty cheap. Maybe the technology is cheap in the world of Mass Effect. But I mean, imagine all the body armor that we have here on Earth, even today, is all pretty darned expensive. I'm not actually sure, but it's pretty interesting, I think. Anyway,
kinetic barriers, more commonly called shields, provide protection against most mass accelerator weapons. Whether on a starship or a soldier's suit of armor, the basic principle remains the same. Kinetic barriers are repulsive mass effect fields, projected from tiny emitters. These shields safely deflect small objects traveling at rapid velocities. This affords protection from bullets and other dangerous projectiles, but still allows the user to sit down without knocking away their chair. The shielding afforded by kinetic barriers does not protect against extremes of temperature, toxins, or radiation.
I feel like these shields must have taken quite a bit of testing to make sure that they, it deflect things at the right speed. Because, I mean, what if you, fall down or something? Then would you would it activate the shield? What's the threshold of speed to knock things away? It allows the user to sit down without knocking away the chair, but what if you sit down really fast?
Metagel is a common medicinal salve used by paramedics, EMTs, and military personnel. It combines several useful applications: a local anesthetic, disinfectant, and clotting agent all in one. Once applied, the gel is designed to grip tight to flesh until subjected to a frequency of ultrasound. It is sealable against liquids, most notably blood, as well as contaminants and gases. The gel is a genetically engineered bioplasm created by the CERTA Foundation, a medical technology megacorp based on Earth. Technically, Metagel violates Council laws against genetic engineering, but to date, it has proved far too useful to ban.
I wonder, I find that so interesting. It's like they want to ban this type of engineering research or whatever you want to call it, but, since it's useful, they let this one slide. Makes you wonder how much more useful stuff they could create if they didn't have any bans, but then you kind of run into a lot of moral conundrum type things, so I just find that kind of interesting, the little bit of hypocrisy in there, and something that we use so I've got millions of Metagels, right? I need to use them more often.
All modern infantry weapons, from pistols to assault rifles, use micro-scaled mass accelerator technology. Projectiles consist of tiny metal slugs suspended within a mass-reducing field, accelerated by magnetic force to speeds that inflict kinetic damage. The ammo magazine is a simple block of metal. The gun's internal computer calculates the mass needed to reach the target based on distance, gravity, and atmospheric pressure, then shears off an appropriate-sized slug from the block. A single block can supply thousands of rounds, making ammo a non-issue during any engagement. Top-line weapons also feature smart targeting that allows them to correct for weather and environment. Firing on a target in a howling gale feels the same as it does on a calm day at the practice range. Smart targeting does not mean a bullet will automatically find the mark every time the trigger is pulled. It only makes it easier for the marksman to aim.
My gosh, that's some really scary weapons that can... Smart target has a computer on the inside that calculates how much metal to lob off to make a bullet. I guess how could something like that even jam? You know, that's the thing. I don't even know if I would want a gun that relies that much on computers and technologies, because at the end of the day you just want something to work, right? And it's like, man, if my life is on the line and the computer freezes up, as you know they do, computers freeze up, come on, what does a froze up computer gun even look like? Like, what kind of blue screen of death do you get in one of these things? I think I'd rather just take a revolver, you know, that just work without any computery stuff. But I don't know, it's been treating me well so far, so I guess they've perfected the technology in this game. Anyway, so that was all of the primary codex. So I'm going to go through the secondary codex. And I guess, I don't know, maybe if I should just read certain things that I find interesting or what, because there's quite a bit in here. And, you know, I mean, I guess we could. I mean, I'm not going to go through the tutorials, even though I probably should, but I'll start with my personal history here. You were born on Earth, but you never knew your parents. A child of the streets, you learned to live by your wits and guts, surviving in the hidden underbelly of the megatropolises of humanity's homeworld. Eager to find a better life, you joined the Alliance military when you came of age. You were assigned to the campaign to rid the Skylian Verge of Batarian slavers and other criminal elements. The final battle came when Alliance forces laid siege to Torfin, a slaver base built miles below the surface of a desolate moon. The superiority of the human fleet was wasted in the assault on the underground bunker, but you led a corps of elite ground troops into the heart of the enemy base. Nearly 3/4 of your own squad perished in the vicious close-quarters fighting, a cost you were willing to pay to make sure not a single slaver made it out of Torfin alive. So that's my Shepard's backstory. Whenever people mention Torfin, this is what they were talking about. Alright, so aliens, count, oh my gosh, there's so much. Like, I mean, I might as well go through it and read it all. So let's start with the council races, Asari culture. Because of their long lifespan, Asari tend to have a long view, not common in other races. When they encounter a new species or situation, the Asari are more comfortable with an extended period of passive observation and study than immediate action. They are unfazed that some of their investments or decisions may not pay off for decades or centuries. Matriarchs can seem to make incomprehensible decisions, but their insight is evident when their carefully laid plans come to fruition. In interstellar relations, this long view manifests in an unspoken policy of centrism. The Asari instinctively seek to maintain stable balances of economic, political, and military power. Traditionally, Asari spread their influence through cultural domination and intellectual superiority. They invite new species of advanced development to join the galactic community, knowing that their ideals and beliefs will inevitably influence the existing culture. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty cool. Like I said before, I really like the Asari. They're not impulsive. I bet they don't even have a word for impulsive in their language. It's like, what's the point? We've got 1,000 years to sit here and think about it, right? My gosh, how cool that must be. Alright, the Asari military doctrine. The Asari military resembles a collection of tribal warrior bands with no national structure. Each community organizes its own unit as the locals see fit and elect a leader to command them. Units from populous cities are large and well equipped, while those from farm villages may be only a few women with small arms. There is no uniform, everyone wears what they like. The Asari military is not an irregular militia, however. Those who serve are full-time professionals. The average Asari huntress is in the maiden stage of her life and has devoted 20 to 30 years to studying the martial arts. Asari choose to be warriors at a young age, and their education from that point is dedicated to sharpening the mind and body for that sole purpose. When they retire, they possess an alarming proficiency for killing. Huntresses fight individually or in pairs, depending on the tactics preferred in their town. One-on-one, a huntress is practically unbeatable, possessing profound tactical insight, a hunter's eye, and a dancer's grace and alacrity. Biotics are common enough that some capability is a requirement to be trained as a huntress. Lack of biotic talent excludes a young Asari from military service. Wow, that's crazy. So basically, the biotics are common enough that you straight up just, you cannot be in the military unless you can do it. My gosh, I wish they'd say exactly how common it is, though. While fluid and mobile, Asari can't stand up in a firestorm the way a Krogan, Turian, or human could. Since their units are small and typically lack heavy armor and support weapons, they are almost incapable of fighting a conventional war, particularly one of a defensive nature. So, Asari units typically undertake special operations missions. Like an army of ninja, they are adept at ambush, infiltration, and assassination, demoralizing and defeating their enemies through intense, focused guerrilla strikes. As a popular Turian saying puts it, the Asari are the finest warriors in the galaxy. Fortunately, there are not many of them. So yeah, I mean, basically, we've already talked about how the Asari live for like 1,000 years, so, they have 1,000 years to live compared to humans at 150 or Silurians at 40, so basically they spend more time training than some of the other races spend alive, so of course you're going to have probably just an absolute monster of a fighter for someone that's just been doing it for so long, right? Alright, the Asari religion. The pantheistic mainstream Asari religion is Siari, which translates roughly as all is one. The faithful agree on certain core truths. The universe is consciousness. Every life within it is an aspect of the greater whole. And death is a merging of one's spiritual energy back into the greater universal consciousness. Siarists don't specifically believe in reincarnation. They believe that spiritual energy returned to the universal consciousness upon death will eventually be used to fill new mortal vessels. Ooh, that's a really interesting ideology or whatever. I actually kind of find that interesting. I really like that. Siari became popular after the Asari left their homeworld and discovered their ability to meld with nearly any life form. This ability is seen as proof that all life is fundamentally similar. Siari priestesses see their role as promoting unity between the disparate shards of the universe's awareness. Before the rise of Siari pantheism, Asari religions were as diverse as their political opinions. The strongest survivor of those days is the monotheistic religion worshipping the goddess Athame. Like the Asari, the goddess cycles through the triple aspects of maiden, matron, and matriarch. Man, I actually find that really, really interesting. I like the Asari even more. I think they are probably definitely the coolest of the different races. I wish I could play an Asari. Anyway, let's look a little bit at the Silurians, the Silurian culture here. The rare Silurian females, so there are females. The rare Silurian females are cloistered on their worlds out of tradition and respect. Powerful female dalatresses are dynasts and political kingpins. They determine the political course of their respective regions through shrewd negotiation. Though male Silurians rise to positions of great authority in business, academia, or the military, they rarely have any input on politics. Due to their method of reproduction, Silurians have no concept of romantic love, sexual attraction, or the biological impulses and social rituals that complicate human lives. Male-female relationships are rare due to the scarcity of females and more akin to human friendship. Sexuality is strictly for the purpose of reproduction. Ancient social codes determine who gets to fertilize eggs, which produces more daughters to continue a bloodline. Fertilization generally only occurs after months of negotiation between the parents' clans and is done for purposes of political and dynastic alliance. No Silurian would imagine defying this code. Silurian names are quite complex. A full name includes, in order, the name of a Silurian's planet, duchy, barony, fiefdom, family, and finally the given name. My gosh. I need to see a full Silurian name, and I guess this pretty much says this explains why you'll never be able to have a Solarian romance in any Mass Effect game. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume you can't because of this. I would not want to be a Solarian from the sounds of it. Live 40 years, no fun in this regard, no thanks. The Solarian government is called the Silurian Union. It is a labyrinthine web of matrilineal bloodlines with political alliances formed through interbreeding. In many ways, the Silurian political network functions like the noble families of Earth's medieval Europe. Structurally, the government consists of fiefdoms, baronies, duchies, planets, and marches, colonization clusters. These are human nicknames. The original Silurian is unpronounceable. Each area is ruled by a single Dalatras, matriarchal head of household, and represents an increasing amount of territory and prestige within the Silurian political web. Approaching 100 members, the first circle of a Silurian's clan comprises parents, siblings, uncles, aunts, and cousins. The next circle includes second cousins, etc., and it escalates to well over 1,000 members. The fourth or fifth circle of a clan numbers into the millions. Silurian loyalty is greatest to their first circle and diminishes from there. Their photogenic memories allow Silurians to recognize all their myriad relatives. Oh my gosh, the thousands and millions? When you go back to their culture and think about how, procreation is basically a political alliance, it makes sense that they keep track of, who their family is. Honestly, I've got a brother I've never met, so a half-brother that I've never met, so... I think I'd like to know where all my blood is at as opposed to my situation, but I don't know, family gatherings have to be pretty darned overbearing. Anyway, on to more of the Silurians. I'm gonna finish up with the Silurian stuff and then I'll be done for today, and the next time I'll pick back up with the Turians. Alright, Silurians, League of One. Before they joined the Citadel Council, the Silurians' most potent military tool was a small reconnaissance team known as the League of One. Their primary training was in espionage and assassination. Never more than a dozen strong, the team was adept at infiltrating the tightest defenses and eliminating all necessary obstacles. Only a few top members of government and military were privy to the League's identities. League members wore no distinguishing garments and held no particular rank. The only evidence of their participation in the League was a small medallion presented to each member upon induction. This secrecy was maintained until the formation of the Council. In an effort to dispel rumors and appease their new Asari partners, the Silurian Union released all classified documents pertaining to the League. The League of One was suddenly exposed and in danger of being hunted by enemies of the Silurians. Before any harm could be done, the team mysteriously disappeared. Most assumed this was a convenient lie to help hide their identities, but a few months later the inner cabinet was murdered. Though there was no incriminating evidence, it was clear who was responsible. Realizing the threat posed by this rogue outfit, the Special Tasks Group dispatched a team of hunters. When they didn't return, the STG dispatched 10 of its brightest operators with broad discretionary powers. Only 2 returned, and they reported no evidence of the League. No further incidents were reported, and it was assumed the League was wiped out. Some recently declassified documents, however, have suggested there may have been a 13th member who eluded the Silurian military. Ooh, I'm guessing maybe this is a side mission or something that I might have missed, because that's very interesting. Alright, how about their military doctrine? In principle, the Silurian military is similar to the Alliance, a small volunteer army that focuses on maneuver warfare. What differentiates the Silurians is not their equipment or doctrine, but their intelligence services and rules of engagement. The Silurians believe that a war should be won before it begins. Conventional wisdom holds that the Silurians know everything about everyone, and this is not far from the truth. In war, the unquestioned superiority of their intelligence services allows them to use their small military to maximum effectiveness. Well before fighting breaks out, they possess complete knowledge of their enemies' positions, intentions, and timetable. In every war the Silurians have fought, they struck first and without warning. For the Silurians, to know an enemy plans to attack and let it happen is folly. To announce their own plans to attack is insanity. They find the human moral concepts of do not fire until fired upon and declare a war before prosecuting it incredibly naive. In defensive wars, they execute devastatingly preemptive strikes hours before the enemy's own attacks. On the offense, they have never telegraphed their intentions with the declaration of war before attacking. Biotics are virtually unknown in the Silurian military. Those with such abilities are considered too valuable to be used as cannon fodder and are assigned to the intelligence services. While capable of defending themselves against most threats, the Silurians know that they are a small fish in a universe filled with sharks. As a point of survival, they have cultivated strong alliances with larger powers, particularly with the Turians. Though the relationship between the two species was rocky at first due to the Krogan uplift fiasco, the Silurians take pains to keep this relationship strong enough that anyone who might threaten them risks Turian intervention. Sounds like they've got a good alliance going on there. My gosh, I'm glad that these guys are on our side. I mean, a bunch of, units, military people that know what you're going to do before you're going to do it, how you're going to react, and gosh, no element of surprise that can leave you really badly wiped out. I find it interesting between the Silurians and the Asari that they don't have biotics in their military, whereas the Asari, you can't be in the military unless you are a biotic, and that probably has something to do with their lifespan too. You figure Silurians might live for 40 years. At best, you're going to get maybe 15 years of service out of them if they start early, maybe 20 years. I don't know. I don't know when a Silurian is considered grown up. They haven't really talked about that like they have the Asari with the 3 different stages. So that sucks. Anyway, the Special Tasks Group. Silurian intelligence field agents are grouped into an organization called the Special Tasks Group. STG operators work in independent cells performing dangerous missions such as counterterrorism, infiltration, reconnaissance, assassination, and sabotage. The STG is a proactive organization puncturing worrisome trends before they become movements. At any time, a dozen groups are operating covertly within the lawless Terminus systems, sowing dissent among the various factions. Civilian analysts also note how troublesome hinge point individuals in Terminus frequently meet unexpected deaths. Man, what a terrible place to be. STG operators are feared throughout the galaxy for their clear-eyed, remorseless practicality. They are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their mission, even if it kills civilians or results in the team's own destruction. In many ways, they are akin to this Council Spectres. That's what I was about to say. Recently, a number of STG cells have been redeployed from Silurian Union. It is assumed they are in the Terminus and Attican Traverse, investigating reports of Geth activity beyond the Perseus Veil. My gosh, these Silurians are way more interesting and complicated than I thought, but I'm going to be done going through the Codex for now just because we're out of time. Next time I'm going to read on the Turians, and I'm going to get as far through the Secondary Codex as I can. I don't know if I'll be able to get through it. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. I'll try my best. So, yeah, that is today's Codex episode. Thank you guys so much for watching me read, play, listen to Mass Effect, and I'll see you with another Codex episode next time. Thanks again, and bye for now.